What's going on, everybody? This is Waning Moonlight, and today we will be beating Dark Souls 2 using only staves. No magic, no sorceries, just with a stick. I got this idea from a dream, and honestly, I thought it sounded pretty funny, so we're going with it. Now, I'll say I did no research for this run. The only thing I actually ended up looking up was what different staves are, where to get them. I didn't look what damage they do. I didn't look up how good they are, what rings work with these. So we're flying in pretty blind. But take a guess at what our final stick's going to be. Have a thought in your head, maybe leave a comment if you want, and see if you're right. Now our first victim, as always, is Big Man right here. Because I kind of want his drip. It's unfair that he has it, so I beat him to death with it, which is great for me. And I decided to do things a little different. I kind of like the jacket. I like the dark blue, so we're keeping it. Then we go ahead and make Dragon Rider go for a swim. I totally did it first try. 100%. Ignore the hollowed looking face. That's just bad makeup, you know. Didn't do it right today. So there, we get some free souls. And of course, we're going to be very responsible with our money. And spend it immediately. We're going to get some Titanite to, of course, upgrade our little stick right here from nothing to +3. Then we take on the Pursuer. And it was going alright. Not the best damage, but sadly, I hate to admit it, I was a little bit of doing some panic rolls, rolled off the ledge, and when you roll off, he disappears, which means you have to fight him normally. That's great, just wasted time and life gems, whatever. I'm sure the last giant won't be a waste of time. After all, he's so easy to do, right guys? Yeah, like I said, low damage, but he was fine to do. Of course. You know what? Nothing in life's meant to be easy. It's fine. Second try's the charm, and we're going to go ahead and challenge the Pursuer again. Still first try, because I technically didn't die first time. I tried using the Ballista just because, you know, why not? This thing doesn't do a lot of damage. I thought this would be fun. It did not help. Yeah, if you hadn't been paying attention to the health bar, we don't do a lot of damage. In fact, this thing does 0 physical damage. So two-handing it will not do any extra damage. It will just make us slower and change the moveset. I do it every once in a while just because the hitbox is a little bit better sometimes, but I don't stick with it. And the Ring of Blades only increases physical attack, which I'll learn halfway through the run. So it's kind of useless on us right now. But here, we pick up the Dull Ember, and then we can make our way to McDuff. Honestly, the scaling of these things doesn't increase our damage by that much. So we really just need raw weapon upgrades. I probably should have looked for a raw stone, but I didn't think of it. Or originally, I didn't think our stats would be like that bad that it wouldn't matter. But yeah, leveling up doesn't do too much. Here, we're not done with the Lost Bastille just yet. I wanted to grab this Fragrant Branch of Yore and take on this Pursuer right here. Again, already. Now, I died the first time. The dogs jumped out at me, so I took care of them first. And here, things went a whole lot better. Obviously, on a 1v1. With our slightly better damage, he also went by faster, and we get some Twinkling Titanite. Here, in the Shaded Runes, we can grab the Chloranthy Ring. If you don't know what that does, then have you never played Dark Souls before? But anyways, while we're here, we can also pick up a Titanite chunk, which means we can get our weapon to +7. So that's pretty nice. Then we're going back to Lost Bastille to fight the Ruined Sentinels. Now, I always remember these guys. When I first played Dark Souls 2, I was trying to be a sorcerer, and I struggled against these guys. I fought them with no upgrades to my staff. I don't think any more spells than like the basic ones. So they were a pretty big roadblock. And now, they're not a difficulty roadblock, but a endurance test. If you ever think about weapon durability, it doesn't matter in Dark Souls 3 or 1, because you can typically kill an enemy before a weapon breaks. Dark Souls 2, however, you have very low durability. And with the staff, we don't do a lot of damage. And if you kind of watch the staff's durability, with how much we lose by taking down the first Ruin Sentinel, it's about half, which means we would not have enough to take down the remaining two. So I kind of just left. I can't beat them, which means I need to change my route. Since starting challenge runs, I've been going the exact same way every single time I play this game. But obviously that's not going to work. So we got to get to the other areas of the Lost Bastille some other way. And that means we have to head to No Man's Wharf. And honestly, this is exciting. I've been here like once in the last year. So yeah, kind of fun to go do something new. What we have to do, of course, is take on the Flexile Sentry. 2 lizard bros hanging in one suit of armor. Not 5 feet apart, but I'm sure it's fine. Then, once we get our money, we can head on to the Lost Bastille, ride up this very handy one-person fitting elevator, and we can jump down and, of course, pick up what we actually came here for, being the bonfire aesthetic. But we're not done even yet, because here we can buy this ring. Well, we find it, we don't buy it, which decreases how much durability is lost when we swing our staff, which means more swings, which is obviously pretty good. And I'm still not ready to fight them. There's still one more thing I want to do, and that's actually fight Najka, because she has 1 HP bar, so it's much easier, I would say. And here, things go alright. We don't do a lot of damage. She's pretty magic resistant. But then I start to notice her HP bar and the staff are like at the exact same percent. Like her damage done and our durability are 1 for 1. I'm like, huh. Does that mean she's going to die right as the weapon breaks? And I mean, close. It breaks. She has that much HP. Other people might have left, but I was like, I'm just going to finish it off. 12 damage a hit. I've done worse. I beat Velstadt while doing 5 damage, so this was really nothing I had to really worry about. She goes underground. I just kind of wait around, get ready for the extra souls, even popping some just to, rake in more cash. She pops up. I punch her a few more times, and yeah, you know what? We can go, we can level up. But that showed me I need a new weapon. So I go back to the Lost Bastille and grab the bone staff. I could have bought another regular one, but I thought it was fun to have a different staff. Then while we're here, I take on the other pursuer just to get a few more souls so we can actually level up that staff. Because once again, say it with me now, the weapon levels matters more than stats. Okay, maybe that wasn't a coherent thing to say, but whatever. With all of these increases, I swapped back and forth and actually summoned to take on the Rune Sentinels, and it went well. Then we go to the Prowling Magus, and once again, things go really well. It's not often that you get a stun lock with these, but this guy, every 2 hits, he got stun locked. So kind of just chained him to the wall. Then after that, we're able to get our last necessary bonfire aesthetic. However, I wasn't feeling good to fight the Rotten. Rotten has pretty high HP. I mean, I can dodge him, but, I just wanted to make sure I was ready. So I was like, you know what? We're already going a weird route. Let's fight some other Lord Souls. Starting off with the Lost Sinner. And we actually do solid damage. Like, surprisingly so. So we just kind of circled around a bit. Then she tried to parry me. I didn't really give her the time of day because, I don't want to get parried. Gave her some backstrokes with the stick. And boom. Done pretty easily, actually. And then Duke's Dear Freya. Honestly, one of my personal favorites of the 4 Lord Souls in this game. I'm so happy they were the ones added to Night Rain. If you haven't fought them in Night Rain yet, they're kind of cool actually. But either way, with them going to be defeated, I felt like we were ready to take on the Rotten easy. Hopefully. What's likely? Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. And it was alright. I mean, if we needed to farm him a couple times. Thanks to all of those extra Lord Souls we got to fight, we actually only need to fight the Rotten 3 times instead of 4 times. Woo! And I'm not going to show every fight because, I mean, it's the exact same thing every time. He slams his sword down, I backstep. Then I roll in, hit him with the stick, come in, blah, blah, blah. It's actually crazy. We wouldn't even do yellow damage. Like, we were doing so little to this guy. 87 damage a swing. He has several thousand health. I kind of zoned out for most of it, honestly. No real tips for fighting this other than just zone out. It makes it feel a whole lot better than trying to lock in. Then again, I fought this man so many times. Maybe zone out won't work for everybody, but if you fought the Rotten just a couple times, you could do it. But either way, it was like 5-6 minutes for the first fight, and it kept getting longer. But eventually, we had enough money accumulated to reach 1 million souls. Which is great, because that means we could go on to the Shrine of Winter. While we were here, there was one stop I was originally going to check out, and that was at the Chancellor. If you're unaware, he will actually sell you repair powder, which obviously that's pretty handy. I wanted to see how much he would sell it for, so you don't have to just mash through the dialogue, because I don't really care what he's saying, blah, 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 Drangleic, dark, cold, blah, blah, blah. And it cost more than I had. Great. Now, as we run up to the Dragon Rider duo, I want to take this moment and ask you all to subscribe. I make content pretty frequently, shorts every day, videos 1 to 2 times a week, basically. Always fun challenge runs or just random videos, so you'll always be entertained, especially if you like Dark Souls 2. That's like 80% of what I do. So, yeah, make sure to take a moment, like, subscribe if you do, and thanks in advance, because I know you're going to enjoy it. But anyways, the Dragon Rider duo, I'm not going to say I was nervous, but I was already used to fighting the Rotten, where I did so little damage, I thought 2 of those guys might be a pain. However, I forgot who I was dealing with. Yellow damage, and we're chunking him. This is not the most number-wise damage we'll do in the game, but that's the most we'll chunk out of a health bar for the entire run. And it was actually really funny to see. So obviously, we target Blue Bro first because he's weaker. Red got a final hit out of us, but after that, honestly, the 1v1 was kind of sad. He was like a turtle. Thought the shield would help him. It did not. And then we were able to buy some more repair powders. By more, I mean, I just picked up a few. I don't know how much we're going to need them with the fact that we got 2 weapons, so it should be fine. But then, I went ahead around, picked up the Drangleic set. Because we no longer really need souls that much, I thought I could probably use with better defense and poise. Because I'd noticed I've been getting hit out a lot, and that was kind of annoying. So, looking last night, he's able to summon some people, and that is worrying, obviously. Because if he can summon people, then I can't 1v1 him, but he can summon people indefinitely. Well, 2 people out at a time, but he can keep summoning till he has 2 out. But there's a time limit between summons, and either way, it's a pain. So, I tried to take full advantage of the 1v1 while I could. I focused him down, trying to break his mirror. I heard, sticks and stones may break the bone, so I kind of thought that he'd break mirrors too. It wasn't my luck. When he pulled out to summon, we did pretty little damage, but when that guy was out, I just focused him down. I thought maybe that would be helpful, and so once I took him down, It was back to the 1v1 for all of like 10 seconds. I don't know what bro's problem is. He doesn't respect the 1v1, and he immediately summons back out another dude. So I realized, okay, there's no point into breaking them down. I'm just going to have to try and get in stray hits here and there, which I used so many life gems for that. I think I used like 20, maybe 30. I've never really had to, I'm going to guess, call it like life gem cheese like that, like just really pushing it to the limit. But hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. And with that done, we made our way through the Shrine of Amana into the real hardest part. These guys, they'll break your weapons. So it's just like, okay, I'll just remove everything and beat them down slowly. This was not a fun process. Please remove those guys from software. Then Demon of Song tried to sing to me, but I didn't really like his tune. I kind of told him to shut up. He cried. It was a big ordeal. So then I tried to apologize, but then he just slapped me after trying to give me a hug. Really weird dude. There was a bit of a close call here. I'm not sure what happened, how I got comboed like that, but I am more than lucky to have lived through it. And I tried to see if we can get a quick kill, and kind of did. It's a close call. He almost closed up. But here, it's finally time to pick up our final weapon of the run. But do you think we were using the sorcerer staff all game? Nah. Just the coolest stick is locked behind everything. Literally 90% of the game's done, but I had to use this staff. So here we got it go. I pulled the lever down here before I go looking for it, just in case someone followed me. I didn't want her to kill me. That would have been pain. And first, you got to find a invisible secret wall. Then you got to put in a lockstone, which, like, to double protect this stick, you got to know it's special, right? Then we just make our way over here, hit the bit, then we pull it out to receive Olaf's staff. Now, why this staff? I'm sure you're wondering. Well, you see, it's blue. And I like the color blue. There's no other reason. I just really like the color blue, so I wanted to use this staff. All that twinkling titanite we had gotten throughout the game was helpful to get this thing up immediately to +3. Against Velstadt, it did alright. Almost 100 damage, but don't forget, when he goes into phase 2, he gets a defense buff. And honestly, this was a lot easier than the first phase. I'll just keep baiting out that bell ringing move, then run in, get some free hits. Honestly, that's like just the best thing to do when fighting him. If you're doing low damage, he gives you a lot of free hits, and it's easy to bait out. Just walk away from him. Eventually, we snap his legs. Well, first we snap our stick, so we have to swap back to this one. Durability's still not there. And then we're able to keep going. Now, usually, I like to go and do the Throne Watcher and Defender first. If you don't know, you don't have to wait to have beaten the Giant Lord. You can just go do them. But I felt like putting them off. I'll explain why when we get there. But yeah. So first, we're doing the Guardian Dragon. And honestly, I don't know what he's guarding. He's really just like a speed hump that's like an inch off the ground. Legitimately did not struggle. Just kind of cracked his legs with the stick a few times. I mean, it wasn't a quick fight, because again, we're still doing some low damage, but you know, it's whatever. With all that said, we were able to run up and get the Ashen Mist Heart without any issue. With that, we go to the last giant. Well, I guess the King of Giants. Giant Lord. And I was a little nervous for this. See, if you don't beat him in 5 minutes, then you get kicked out of the memory. And things have been kind of slow. So I was like, okay, if we aren't quick, things might go bad. So I popped a Bright Bug and was actually surprised. About 170 damage? That's crazy. Well, not like crazy, but better than we've been doing all game if you've been paying attention. So with our new maximum power, we were actually able to beat him pretty easily. And it's actually really funny, like the second the fight is over, the bright bug wears off as well. So perfect timing. Now, the Throne Watcher and Defender. Usually, I like to cheese them by holding up a Great Shield and forcing off the Throne Watcher. However, my strength and skill are extremely low. I probably couldn't even hold a shield, let alone a Great Shield. Which means I had to fight him. But I don't have to do it alone. I got my good buddy Benhart here to help me. Or at least, like, I was supposed to. I kind of forgot he's, like, bad at the game. And he died right as they both entered second phase, which meant I had to deal with the harder part. This footage is at 10 times speed. Fun fact, they're both really aggressive and, like, do a lot of damage. So that kind of made it a little bit harder to get in there, you know. Obviously, it wasn't the biggest deal. It's really just a matter of patience with these guys. It's hard to break up their aggro and all that, so not much I could do. But eventually, I got them low enough where I had to decide who to break first. I went for the Watcher because the Defender doesn't have a shield, so I know he couldn't block my hits. With him down, or with her down, I guess, I was able to break him. And with all that being done, it's time to fight Nashandra. And with everything being done and said, this run was pretty fun. Would I recommend it? I would say so. You know, sometimes I watch people do challenge runs where they take a pretty weak weapon and they buff it up so then it becomes really powerful. I've done broken sword runs where I'm easily able to get out over 200 damage. So this was good because your options are very limited with the staves in this game. Maybe there's one better that's meant to be used this way. But I didn't look for that. So that's part of what made it challenging, kind of going in half blind. If there is a staff used for attacking, let me know. I'm curious to know if it's actually good or not. This staff itself wasn't too bad. It specialized actually in dark magic. I looked at it after this fight, so actually it was terrible to bring into the end game. But it's blue, so like, to me, it's the best staff in the game. And also for this run, if you end up doing it yourself, hey, let me know down below. I'm intrigued for how other people would go about it. Now to actually talk about Nashandra here, she's fine. Nothing she really did was like that deadly. You know, she did her typical triple swing. We're doing about 100 damage. So it kind of balanced out. I was able to use those repair powers we had bought earlier just to make sure we can stay in the game without needing to warp home. Which again, that was a little bit ago. But if you saw it, you know. And then other than that, just kind of dodge rolled around until, well, we were able to bring her down. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do subscribe. I'm going to be doing more challenge runs, and I do take challenge run suggestions. So if you have an idea and don't want to do it yourself for any From Software game, let me know. I'll probably do it. Or maybe I've already done it, and then you should go watch that video.